We've made this little particle system that happens when we land on the ground, and it's a bit much, maybe, but it always is this buffy white kind of look, and it doesn't look super good when we land on something that's green. And making this entirely dynamic is a bit bothersome, but we can do some stuff to using that exact same system that we have set up in the previous video. Still give it some different colors depending on some other code inputs. To take a look back at it, we have this dust system that we've created based on two different dust emitters. And this takes in, at the moment, just a size. But the emitters individually also take in a particle color. And much like we did with the size, we can just link both of these particle colors. We can make a new user parameter for that as well. So make a linear color. We'll call that dust color. And drag and drop that into our particle color here. Let's set the default value to something like a more green-blue, because we're going to need to kind of change this color, because this other one isn't pure white. I just made it a little bit bluish before, and then also a little bit darker. And for that, we can use the U shift linear color input. And that's going to take a, well, linear color input. And I can just shift the U for this one. And now you can see I've got one color input. It's going to always be that color. And then the other system is that color offset a little bit. So let's offset it by about 10%. Just make it a little bit more dull as well, by setting the value, which is the brightness of it, to about 70% maybe. And then maybe this one is slightly more desaturated as well. And now if I make this pink, both of them will always be roughly the same color, just with a little bit of variation between them. That's fantastic. We're going to set the default color for it back to being a white type of color, because we can use that to really dial in the difference in value. Maybe even down to like 60%. Let's go with 50%. That seems pretty good. But we don't want to set this in a pre-set up way. We want to set this dynamically every time we spawn this thing in. And we're already spawning this thing in based on the player landing. When we land on anything, we use the hit result with the impact point to spawn the system there. That's what all of this has been doing so far. But now we want to set the color parameter that we just created, the dust color, based on some stuff. Relatively easy to do. We can just use the reference to the Niagara system that was just created when we spawned this in. And then we can set a color parameter, and that'll get you the set Niagara variable linear color node. That takes in the exact name of the variable. Because it's based on names, it's generally a good idea to just go over here, and you can copy the display name and just paste it in. That'll give you exactly the proper name, proper capitalization. Any typos that you make are going to mess this up otherwise. This will now just dynamically set whatever system we spawn in, the color for that specific system. We can promote this to a variable real quick, at least temporarily, so that I can show you if I now make this alpha, obviously 1. Doesn't really matter probably, but still. And I set this to being blue. I can jump, and the particles that spawn in will be blue. If I set this to being that pink color that we used before, it's a pretty good one, I can see that they spawn in being pink. So far, so good. Now all we need to do is write a little bit of code to decide what color this should be. And there's a whole bunch of things that you can do here. What I'm going to do is a fairly straightforward method of dealing with this. We already have a reference to the hit actor, the actor that we hit against. If we just get the component by class from that, and we just try to find a static mesh component in this thing, first and foremost, it's going to be important to check a is valid on this, because if this is not valid, we don't want to try to set anything based on this. But if we did find a valid static mesh component, what we can do is we can get the material in any given index slot. A static mesh can have multiple materials on it. We're just going to worry about material 0, the first material that it has, and just use that to look up, hey, this material should use this type of color when we jump onto it. And the way that we do that is by setting up in our variables in the player character here. We'll just set up a material to color map. It's the first time that we're using a map, I am pretty sure. So we'll walk through that. We'll make this as a variable like any other. We're going to try to find a material, find material object reference, and then we change this from a single. We've already talked about arrays, I'm pretty sure. We're going to ignore sets. We're going to take a map. And a map is going to be a variable type that has, well, two different types. A key and then a value. And that's going to allow us to give in a key, so in this case, give in a material, and it's going to spit out the corresponding value to it. In this case, it's going to be a linear color. If we compile that, we can start giving in some values to this. And you can see that it wants us to put in a material here. If you find that you can't do it, it's probably because it's a material instance that you're trying to put in there, and we're just allowing normal materials in here. So you might want to give in a material interface instead. That allows you to put in pretty much any type of material. And then you will see that you should be able to drag and drop that in there. No problem. Good thing actually, because this get material gets you a material interface reference anyway. So it's probably what you want to do regardless. And then we just say, okay, this material, when we land on that specific thing, we want to give in, well, let's say just green. That makes sense in this situation, I would imagine. And we get that material to color map, and we can just use find in that. And we try to find whatever material we get from that component by class. And if this is something that it did find, it's going to give us a true out of the bottom bin here. So we also want to check that just to be sure. Because if it didn't find that, we're just going to go back to whatever the default color is, in this case, white. But if it did find something, we just give that in as the in value instead. And as easily as that, now it will spawn in green particles when we jump on this, and it will spawn in just the default particles when we spawn into literally anything else. And now everything in the game with this material will respond in this way. Taking a real quick break here to say, if you're enjoying this or finding this helpful, a way that is entirely free for you to support me, if you don't want to sign up for the Patreon, is to go down below in the description to my Steam page for my own game and add it to your wishlist. Only takes a couple of seconds to do, but it actually does massively help me out and support me making my game and the content that comes along with it. That does mean that if you have a bunch of different materials, you're going to need to set up this map to have a lot of entries, which is obviously not ideal. An alternative that is a little bit more broadly applicable would to instead be use a map with physics materials. But for now, we're going to keep it at just the way that it is. And I'm going to copy this thing over and just with the End key on the keyboard, snap it down to the ground and make a copy of this material. Call it MI, let's call it blue for material instance, well, blue. And then the surface option here, I'm going to just call this one blue instead. Give it to this object, just to show you how easy it is to now go in here and look up my material instance for blue and tell it, well, I want this to spawn in, again, alpha, add 1, with a blue color. For some reason, my PC doesn't really like working with the color picker today. I don't know why. And without anything more than that, we can see this is green. Anything else is the default color, but this will spawn them in as blue. And no matter how you decide which color it's going to display, because there's a bunch of different ways that you could do this, you can set pretty much any type of this user parameter just with the corresponding set Niagara variable, and then in these parentheses, the type of variable. Now that we've played around a little bit with a handful of different particle things, I think it's a good challenge for you yourself to go in and make two different particle systems. A particle system that spawns in and looks like the player got hit. Something that just tells the player alongside of the camera shake that we've introduced before that they got hit. And then a separate particle system that looks distinctly different in some way that spawns in when the enemy dies. And for bonus points, if you have multiple different enemies, maybe make them use different colors or otherwise different properties with the same system, depending on the different type of enemy. I have two different enemies over here, and if this one dies, maybe those are brown and green particles, and when this one dies, presumably they would be orange colored particles instead. And maybe they have a different velocity, or maybe these ones go upward a little bit more, and these ones go out a little bit more. Try to experiment around a little bit with a bunch of different particle settings by making a Niagara system that's potentially built out of one or multiple emitters that are easily reusable by just changing around a couple of parameters. It's good to get into the practice of not just making, oh, I'll make this into a whole new system real quick. Because you're going to end up with hundreds of systems. Despite the fact that we're doing more art-related stuff now, the same principles that we discussed previously in programming still apply. Setting up reusable stuff is always a good idea. You don't want to script out the exact same bit of code 10 different times. You make that into an event, you make that into a function, and then you just call that event or function. Same thing here. You don't want to set up the exact same behavior for particles with just a slight difference 10 different times. You make an emitter and then just tweak that emitter. Or same thing with the systems as a whole. And a very big thank you to all my Patreons. You can see them on screen right now. If you want to help support the channel or get any of the project files in any of my tutorials, there's a link down below to the Patreon page to support me, or alternatively as a YouTube member. With a special thanks to my Cave student tier supporters Oiku and Earl Monseville Erno, and my Cave Digger tier supporters Mauricio Ferias, Cheng the Dude, and Joshua Mater.